What's good, y'all? You dog back here again here in 2019. Let's get it. Now, I've been having a blast doing these fan fiction videos, okay? And this one is a. There have been so many variations of Son Goku going SSJ 5 amongst fans. You've seen a white hair, you've seen more animalistic Super Saiyan 4, you see all kinds of stuff, right? More yellow. Like, no, SSJ 5, there's going beyond. Like, I was thinking about like going SSJ to, I don't know. Like, I was thinking about some of the crazier ones, and we might do variations if y'all want me to do some of those. But I just like, let me backtrack before I go to insanity. All right, let me just go with what do I conceive of what SSJ 5, how would that have developed? What power level would he have been? Would he have been? Would he be? Okay. And what is he? Right? Number one, let's remember that after DBGT was ending, as it was ending, okay, Son Goku, still in his kid form, gets taken away. Now, remember this point. Two things. Saiyans typically live to like they have their prime, they're because of their genetics, because they evolved as a warrior race. They can fight, in their seemingly prime until they're around 80. Okay, 70, 80 years old, then they become an old man like the rest of us, like Homo sapiens. The thing is, he was in a kid form. Now, his power level was so massive, it was so colossal in SSJ4 that it broke through the curse put on by the Star Dragon Balls. Okay, put a curse. So there is that. Also, you take into consideration he over 100 years, and we see him. Some say he's a spirit, some say he's dead. I'm going to go the fact that he's immortal. And there's multiple reasons, and he's ascended to really from a demigod level, which he was, him and Vegeta. You could say both in SSJ4 forms, as well as in um and with their Super Saiyan God forms. They're demigods, honest to God. That is exactly what they are. All the hints are there, all the groundwork is there. They're demigods at this point in time, in whichever version you take it. Um, when you look at it, like I loved, I'm trying to remember who did it, like a year ago that did a video, maybe more, about SSJ4 not being a true traditional Super Saiyan form, but it's more of a Super Uzaru form. And there's evidence for that for Golden Uzaru and such. So keep that in mind. Like, we're at the apex of Saiyan. So if we're going to follow that apex of Saiyan line, let's decipher what that would mean for his next form. Uh, he's now an adult. He's now immortal. Remember, he absorbed the Dragon Balls within himself. So there's no Dragon Balls on Earth. So he absorbed them within himself. We see 100 years have passed by the time he watches the Goku Jr. versus Vegeta Jr. match. By the time that he's walking amongst people who don't seem he's there, so it gives credence to him being an immortal, godlike figure, a god of fighting, if you will, watching over everything. Uh, Apparently the Earth's been peaceful enough because Boma's great whoever doesn't even recognize Pan. So a lot of people have pointed out these little things. Okay, the world's been peaceful. It's been kept at peace. He sees us in good hands. He's just watching over it as a deified figure at this point. Um, and it, like I said, 100 years of peace. He hasn't really done anything. Maybe he's kept big threats away. Who knows what he's learned from the dragons? So let's look at it. All right, power boost. He absorbed all seven Dragon Balls, so there's a mystical boost right there. The fact that he was a full power Super Saiyan 4. Okay, so that means with training he would have definitely surpassed Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, which is a massive power. Which means we're already getting universal levels of power. Okay, already in base. And yes, I'm saying in base, and I'll get to that in reason. In base, already universal levels of power already by bare minimum, bare minimum. Just like his, you could say Dragon Ball Super. You know, people want to downplay. I think they downplay GT folk as well. Okay. Um. Also, he's had if you're talking about the 100 years, he's had 100 years of training, and we know how powerful they got in like 50 years. He's had twice as long to train. We also know he was able to unlock SSJ 3 in 7 years in the other world because of no stamina prohibition. So when you look at it, he's had seven. That is 14 times as long. 14 times. That why when I say universal bare minimum with his base form, that's me completely lowballing. In all honesty, though, his base. I don't want people to get all kinds of mad at me. Should be more powerful than Super Saiyan Blue around the time at least of the beginning of the Tournament of Power. Yeah, his base should be more powerful than Super Saiyan Blue because you had a century, you had twice his lifespan to train. His forms stacked Super Saiyan 50 times, then twice, and 4 times extra, which is 8 times Super Saiyan, or a 50, 400 times multiplier, if you want to go that. Super Saiyan 4. Now, there's been people that go from it's a 4,000 all the way to it's a 20,000 times multiplier, because you could say Golden Zoro, um, 20,000. Hold on, I believe 20,000. 500 times, because you had Golden Zoro plus the Super Saiyan times Uzoro would be 500 times boost. And then you take it from there, whatever you think the multiplier is, for Super Saiyan 4 transformation. Super Saiyan 5, I think he would have mystical kind of like tattoos going down. Um, Considering the fact he's not old. But would he have white hair? I'm not exactly I'm not exactly sure. I think maybe possibly a the white hair is seductive. It is a seductive design. I think it's possible that he would go for the orange reddish hair that you see with Gogeta. It makes perfect sense. They both still kept the black hair in SSJ4. You could say, well, that was their forms um as characters, but for some reason they went orange hair. So let's go with the orange hair, completely orange hair, uh, long flowing orange hair. Okay, which you see very very primal potential, or much more primal um, features, a much more ape like features, but mixed with humanoid. So we talk about a humanoid ape with kind of different mystical tattoos and such. Potentially would have like the 7 stars indicating the Dragon Balls within him and whatnot. Um, how powerful would this dude be? Possibly level of the Grand Priest, if not higher. Like if you really sit back and think about how powerful Son Goku would simply be, this form would devastate every other form that he's ever had, including, I think it would be a more powerful form than Ultra Instinct, sort of. Because if you really sit back and think about it, he would have probably unlocked this form within a decade, knowing his growth rate. And now you have 10 decades to perfect a singular form if he didn't unlock a higher form with a base that is likely Low-balled Universal, likely more powerful than Super Saiyan Blue before the Tournament of Power. That's the base you're talking about. And then you have a transformation that is likely more powerful than Ultra Instinct. And I can say that because you're talking about just, I mean, if you want to exclude the mystical power, which could very likely be an amp and an amp of abilities that he could have, as long as with an immortal body that does not is an infinite amount of key because he's immortal. So he's imagine two, 17 and 18, Android 7 and 18, 17 and 18 have an infinite amount of key. That infinite amount of energy. He has an infinite amount of key. He is immortal. It is arguable that he has a semi-tangible body. He has potentially mystical powers that we whether that amps his power or not is regardless because he likely can heal himself, do other mystical techniques because that he's learned. He's the dragon sage at this point. His levels of power are stupid. The multiplier, let's see. Let's just go for the sake of argument. Let's see, 500 times with Uzaru. And let's just say that was a 10 times boost from that. So 500 times 10 would be, let's say it was a 5,000 boost. Okay. His transformation gate, which is much more powerful than any other transformation he had in Super Saiyan. So let's say from his base stat, SSJ4, you had 400 times, uh, if you want to go 500, that's 20,000. If you want to go further and say that there was a 10 times boost with SSJ4, you could go 200,000. So you could potentially go a 200,000 boost. If you don't want to go that and you want to be conservative, we'll just go, let's say, a 20,000 times boost from his base form. Now you add on to a form that likely, I don't want to be outrageous, potentially 100,000 times boost. Now you could say to his body, all right, if we're already at 20,000, that would just be a 5 times boost, just 5. But if it's 100,000 is not enough, it might be a million times boost to his body. A million times boost. Because now you're looking at another 50 times boost. Another 50 times boost on his power. Which isn't unbelievable considering that the first Super Saiyan was a 50 times boost. So 450 and another 50 on top of that. So we're looking at what, a million times boost? Million times his base. Now, that's exponential growth. That's not just multiply a million times because Dragon Ball deals in exponential growth. Um, so you're talking about a million times a character who's more million times exponentially of a character whose base is likely that of Super Saiyan for start of a tournament of power. Character would be insane. Would be insane. Unexpected Wonder, like, comment, subscribe. Tell me your thoughts. How do you conceive that SSJ5 Son Goku would be the Dragon Sage himself? Um, and any other characters. Now there's a plethora that I plan to do, but any other characters that you would like me to do, I will do them for you, hopefully. And until next time, y'all, have a beautiful day, beautiful night. Peace.